Three. I think they can.
Somewhat.
I mean, it's not good practice.
Not bad. You're doing fishing machines. You guys did good the other day or something.
She's available Saturday morning.
So is your
Kelly
daughter?
said she's available Saturday morning.
We'll have to have someone to start his passport.
What lake were you on?
Like, oh my God. Amber.
For one of our other volunteers.
So Ann Pierce isn't able to make it tonight, so we'll start with Wyatt for roll call.
Wyatt Varney.
Lauren Ferruccio. Lyle Duncan. Heidi Duper.
Tim Broderick.
Carol Locke.
Jason Henry.
Matt Jazokis, David Lacho.
Eunice Landry.
Christy Wood.
Brandy Pelletier.
Eric Bordeaux.
All right, our first public input is up. Anything on the agenda is what the criteria is for our first public input. So do I have anyone who would like to speak? No? Okay, in that case, I'll close public input. All right, agenda review. Does anyone have anything to add or subtract? Oil bid, under action items, right? This pen's a little weird. Okay, thanks. Anything else people want to do?
I make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty, approval of the minutes from August 20th, 2024.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second. Any discussion about the minutes? Any corrections? All right, in that case, everyone in favor of August 20th meeting minutes being approved? Aye. Any opposed? All right, Heidi, you're up. Finance. It's a little overwhelming. Every time I look at these sheets, I'm like, oh my
Next
gosh.
month we'll start really getting into, I'll do a summary and more of a report. I've been busy still ending the year with the auditors, the on-site took place and cleaning up that and working on DOE 25, so.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Heidi?
I have a question. Have you put together a budget schedule yet?
So the budget schedule, I don't know if we want to talk about that tonight or have some dates.
I'm just wondering if you have one or don't have
I
one.
don't have
Okay.
one. I figured we could discuss
Alright.
when
I said
everybody's
that Alton
available.
is starting to meet, so I just didn't know if you had put
In
together.
Alton, we do the whole budget in one afternoon. We
I
don't,
saw that.
yeah, we don't do a finance committee. We just do it for about 2 hours, and then we're done. So, it actually works really well.
Lock yourself in a room till it's done.
What?
Lock yourself in a room till it's
Yeah,
done.
we lock
No
ourselves.
reason
No,
not
it's
to
a
leave.
public meeting. They have to be open. So you don't want to, do you want to try to set some dates now or not?
No, I just wanted to know if there was one, and if there isn't yet, that's fine.
All right, well, you want to send something out on email,
We could
Heidi?
do that.
Just figure out when you're available. Okay,
Yeah, well, maybe we can throw some dates out there to see when everybody is.
that'd be great.
First week in October could be good, if that's possible.
First week of October.
The first week?
We won't be on October.
You won't be ready. Okay, so late.
I have an October problem.
Don't worry about it. We'll take care of everything. All righty. Are we all set then, Heidi?
Yeah.
All set, Eunice? Okay, you're up, David. Principals report?
All right. First and foremost, I'd like to recognize and welcome and introduce our assistant principal, Dennis Delbarone, and our dean of students, Chris Lee. I will briefly say, I think we've collectively, everyone here put together a great team. Things are working smoothly, we're getting along great, and I think the fruits of the labor are benefiting everyone in this room and all the students involved. So I
I've
don't know
heard
if you
some
have
very
any questions
positive
or wanna
things.
hear from
I've heard
them.
very positive feedback about how school is going right now.
I'd love to hear at the mic if you want to say any, if you, either one wants to say a couple of words. Good to get to know you.
So thank you for having me here. I would like to echo what David said. When you put three professionals together who've never met each other and who have all different skill sets, I was a little nervous about it at first, but I don't need this. But I taught middle school for a long time. I don't need a microphone. But Dennis and David and I do seem to have different skill sets, and it turns out we've really been working well together. And I think we balance each other really well. So I appreciate you trusting us with your children. Really, I know as a mom, that's kind of a big deal. But I think the year's been great so far, especially the cell phone policy we're a little nervous about. But, you know, so far I feel like we've done well with bringing the kids together and the staff together as well. So thank you for all of that. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Dennis Delbarone, the assistant principal. Just kind of echoing the sentiment. I think we've had a really fantastic start of the school year. I'm very happy to be here. It's been a while since I've worked with high school students, and they are so refreshing. I've been working with, like Chris, I've been working with middle schoolers for a little bit now. And I think there's a really positive vibe in the building. I think students are responding well to the new leadership, and staff is also responding really well to the new leadership. And I think, you know, it's one of the smoothest openings of school that I've ever been a part of. And so, you know, looking forward to keeping that positive train going. So, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to speak to this?
Sure. So I just tried to pick and pull various highlights and some numbers and some metrics for the good of the board, particularly the cell phone policy. We didn't know how that was going to manifest once the school year started, and we have yet to break single digits with having kids with issues with this. And in fact, now we're averaging about 2 phones a day. So I think it's working quite well. We're very pleased by that. Students know when they can and cannot use them. And it seems to be working, and if students do have an emergency type need, you know, I need to talk to my boss or connect with the mom, there's a handful of kids that will come down to the office or counseling department throughout the day if they need to make a quick call, and it's working well. If you looked at our schedule and some of the earlier documents, we have a dedicated time now for DEN, that crucial advisory, while still having time for PAC. And I think breaking up a little bit has resulted in quite a bit of benefits for students and staff alike to have that allocated time to do other things during that advisory time, in addition to still having the PAC. We've working through various behavioral issues that you would expect to work through at a high school, right? So that's always going to be there. What we're seeing, and I think it speaks to kind of the positive feeling that's throughout the school, is, you know, they exist, but in looking in years past, it seems that we've tamped down maybe a little bit, which is certainly positive. And then we're making it a point to just be really present. If we're not sitting with a student or teacher, we're out in the school. So for the 3 of us, that might be at least half the day or more. We're out in the school in some form or function. And I think that is really invigorating and refreshing for us, as it is for the students and staff alike. Those are kind of the highlights, but I'm certainly happy to entertain any questions or comments that the board might have.
Well,
Anyone?
it's not your turn, but do you wanna say anything about, they said stuff on policy or how things going?
I mean, I think it's been pretty well received on the student side. I mean, obviously, there's still a couple of students that grumble about it, but I think overall, it's definitely like, you know, the different groups of students, you know, students you'd look at, they typically would be on their phones more. They're receiving it better, as well as students who, you know, obviously don't really care about it. So I think it's definitely improved a lot.
Can I ask you this, and you're pretty honest, how's the vibe in the school going?
It feels, I don't want to say lighter, but it definitely feels better. Like, it feels more positive. Kind of like Mr. Delbarone was saying. Definitely think it's gone up.
That's great.
He's been very honest with us, he's not afraid to share his opinion, so
He's very honest,
we do
yes.
like having him here.
No, that's great to hear, Wyatt, thanks.
And Wyatt and I made it a point to put a meeting on the books each week, and I gave him the goal of trying to bring different kids every time to meet with me, just to have that set time for various students to meet directly with the principal and talk about whatever we need to talk about.
Sure.
To have that formal time in addition to just being out there for the walk-ups. So I
So they
think
feel heard, is
we've been
what
able
you're
to do, yes, we've been able to do that once, and I'm excited to keep doing it.
That's great, good to hear. Okay, any questions for David? All right, your turn, Wyatt.
Mine's pretty short tonight. I just wanted to, you know, touch on a few things going on. First of all, the boys soccer team. All I wrote is that they're 4-1, but out of my 4 years here at Prospect, this might be the athletic team with the most chemistry that I've ever seen. I mean, they're going out to breakfast, they're going out to dinner all the time. They're having a phenomenal time. They're all wicked close, and they are doing a phenomenal job this year. Like, insane. It's a totally different vibe for their team.
I think they just won 8-0.
Did they?
Yeah, they did,
Yep.
they just went 8-0.
That's
Looking out the window.
That's kind of my point. They are definitely on a good roll. They didn't, I mean, their loss was, I think, 2 games ago, and they didn't let it get them down at all. They moved right, they picked themselves up, moved right on from it. So I think they're definitely going to be fun to watch all the way into playoffs this year. Girls soccer team's pushing on through. They're 2-3, and I think they had good hopes for their game tonight. Volleyball is 0-5 from everything I've seen. They're putting up good fights, and they're working on their team as a whole, even if they're not winning. Bass fishing team is a lot bigger in the past couple years. There's a few more students in it this year, a lot of underclassmen, which is good to see. Last week they competed at a small tournament hosted by Portsmouth High School, which they won. We got first.
Wow, that's great.
Out on Winnipesaukee, so that was pretty fun. National Honor Society is partnering with American Red Cross again to do their blood drive. You guys are all free to sign up if you're in and out of the building, like Mr. Jazokos. I think we're going to be able to do it twice this year, which is really awesome, and donate a lot of blood. And then next week is also homecoming week, which isn't just the homecoming ball, it's also dress-up days all week long. I think there's 2 to 3 soccer games that are under the lights, which is really cool. And I think the whole week should be good for spirit around the school and boost that positive vibe even more. And then lastly, the seniors have painted their parking spots. At least most of us have. Some of us haven't gotten around to it. And they look awesome. There's some really creative things out there. I mean, some people spent hours and hours on them. There's a couple minions. There's just some really cool stuff. So when you guys leave today, I'd recommend just peeking your heads over
I
and
tried
checking
to
it
see
out.
tonight, but they were covered up by cars,
Yeah.
so couldn't see them. But
Saturday.
I'll have to come back on Saturday, right? All right, any questions for Wyatt? Thank you very much, appreciate it. All right, we're on to building and grounds, Mr. Henry.
All right. Had our meeting tonight. 3 of us were there tonight. So a couple things going on. Most of the doors have been replaced except for 2 that were on the list. As you see, the new door, it's over here. They kind of look like, now I notice there's more window space in them. So they'll be finished by this weekend. The concrete is finished out front. The auto scrubber is already here. The electric sign for down front is slated to be here about 3 weeks. The thing that we will not name has been done. With just some paint touch up, and then the strip behind me up top here, they're coming back to finish that strip as well, just a cosmetic up there on the panel. So a lot of things moving forward. And then we had bid reviews, and you can either wait to action items, or if you're okay doing it now, I can go through them and get it over with.
Might be easier just to do them now since
Okay.
you're speaking. Is everyone okay with that? We take action on the bids?
So we had 3 different RFPs that went out. The first one was the snow removal bids. We had 3 bidders that came in, various prices, and the group is recommending the second one, the Sharper Image Landscape. They are also doing the Alton Elementary School, and they, Sean is really pleased with them, Ascot, and they're doing a good job, so we'd like to give them their opportunity to do the high school as well. So that is our recommendation.
Any questions for Jason on that? Can I hear,
Second.
did you do it?
I make a motion to accept
There
number
you
2, the
go.
Sharper Image Landscape.
Did you make a motion,
I
Jason?
did make a motion.
All right, so you're second.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jason? All those in favor? Aye.
Second one was the booster pumps and irrigation pump replacement. We had 2 bidders. We are recommending the first one to Guilford Well. This replaces, the pump that we have is actually needs to replace. It shuts off, we won't have water up here. They'd have to stick a temporary pump in there, and while they're there, it's cheaper now to replace the irrigation pump now. Always have to rip it all open again later. It's over 20 years, about 20 years old. So we are recommending, I'm making a motion to accept Guilford Well Company for their booster pump replacement and irrigation pump replacement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks. Any questions?
Where's the funding coming from?
That's a good question. I'm gonna turn it over to you on that one.
So during the Bills and Grounds Committee meeting, we told them that we could schedule a public hearing and ask you to use the CIP fund, but we could also wait and see what our unencumbered surplus position looks like later in the year before making that decision.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be
That's-
budgeted?
It's not what we were expecting this year.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The third one went out was for irrigation well and pump bid. It is basically for the back fields, putting the irrigation in and the pump up to there. Good healthy discussion on that. After the discussion, Superintendent and Eric and all 3 of us actually agreed to, we are not recommending to do this project at this point. So we are recommending the board to do nothing.
Don't even have to vote on it, so zero vote.
I have a question though. When was the last time we tried to put in a well that failed?
So it was before both of our time, so now that means at least 13 years. And I understand they looked up in this area
Yeah, I'm not
and
sure.
couldn't do it. So what we've talked to the vendors about is trying out back. But it's still it's a gamble.
You never
So
know.
some of the discussion was, so just so you know, and Eric, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, there's plenty of water. You know, it's way wet in the spring. During the summertime, the grass is burned on the baseball field, but that goes dormant, and so it's not a real issue. It's not a huge problem up there right now. It would be nice if we could have better days, more days that we could irrigate up there, but it's not a necessity right now. So we are able to live with what we have, and that's why we're recommending not doing this project at this point.
And you just voted to spend $50,000 on some other pump replacements that we didn't anticipate.
That was the other thing too.
Any other discussion?
Beyond that, our next meeting is gonna be in November 19th, or we're not gonna have a meeting next month unless I get an email that something crops up. But that's it for me.
Okay, great, thanks. Matt, you're up.
Thank you. Good evening. One of the things that I am looking for your support on under action items is establishing a system-wide literacy committee. We would like representation from Prospect Mountain High School while we're going to be focusing in on the elementary level in terms of their program and the lack of science and reading involved in that program. I think it's important that our high school people also be involved in those conversations to get feedback from them. Because eventually it's going to pay dividends up here. So we're looking to get 3 people from each Barnstead Elementary and Alton Central, and a couple from here at the high school. And also Carol volunteered to represent Alton, and then we're hoping to get somebody from Barnstead to also from the board to be on the committee as well. We'll pay each of the individuals, not the board members,
No,
a
I
stipend
didn't
of
think I'd get
$1,800
compensated. Darn it.
for your support in that piece of it. So we'll be establishing that hopefully in October, early November to get that going. We're working with an outside consultant right now for them to oversee that piece of it so that we can participate and not having to worry about facilitating. So
Are you gonna be meeting during the school day or after school?
it would be after school.
After
Yeah.
school?
Yeah.
Is there anyone on the high school board that would be interested? I mean, I can obviously represent both,
Yeah.
but anyone interested in joining from Barnstead?
We'll
figure it out.
Okay, all right. Sounds good.
And continuing with our embedded honors, as you know, we've been in a multi-year effort to expand access to challenging, engaging coursework. As part of that, what we want to do, what we are going to do, is gather some baseline data. While it'll be a different cohort, we will be doing some baseline data this week where we'll survey some of our ninth grade students. We're looking to get at least 50% of our ninth grade students to survey them in a variety of different questions. It's a quick 6 question survey for them. And it just gets feedback from the student's perspective. We'll also have somebody going into classrooms and walking through and doing some observation, if you will. It's not evaluative in any capacity, it's anonymous. So the results will come back. It won't single out any particular person. Each core academic area has more than one teacher who's teaching a ninth grade class. So we'll be able to keep it anonymous as we can. We met with the union people to make sure that they understood what we were doing. We got great support from them. And so that will take place this week. So I'll be coming back to you in probably October, maybe November, with some of the results of that. So.
And how about parents? Have they been involved at all?
Yep. So
How have we involved parents?
parents.
Yeah, have you given
so-
them any
yep.
information about this?
So last week, we sent out, Dave sent out a letter to parents, basically explaining what we were doing and why we were
Okay.
doing it.
Great.
So, yep.
Might want to consider a forum at some point
Yep.
where the parents get to come
Yeah,
ask questions.
we met today with the Prospect Mountain admin team, and one of the conversation pieces was setting up some grade 8 meetings to get the information out to
Great.
them. Yep.
Thank you.
So we'll be starting that up pretty soon. On the back of that page is just the phase that we've been walking through. This again has been shared with faculty and staff. We're in phase 2, where we'll do the data collection. In early October, those core teachers that have not been part of the embedded training already, sorry, there's a typo there, sorry. They will participate in that training. It's a 2-day training. And then that will allow to have all of our core teachers, most of our UA teachers are already teaching in this type of environment. On our November 5th, our March 11th, and May 23rd professional development days, that will be focused on reviewing, revising, and writing that ninth grade curriculum with that focus on embedded honors. If you look at phase 3, which would be the 25-26 school year, that would be the implementation. And then phase 4, we'd be implementing it at grades 9 and 10. So once again this year, we are working our school mentoring program. Jesse Rubitis is in his 2nd year as our mentor coordinator. And then we have Rhonda Fernald, Andrea Caruso, Troy Corvo, John Anderson, Holly Kelly, Tom Stevens, Russ Trendle, Sam Bravar, Liz Kahn, and Tom Owen. Those are our mentors for this year. And our goal is that we retain 100% of our teachers. And I think that this program, it's adaptable for the individuals, for those who are brand new to teaching versus those who are just brand new to Prospect Mountain, so we can adjust accordingly so that we get them what they need. This week we started our initial STAR testing, so we will have our freshmen and sophomores completed by the end of this week, and then we'll follow up with any students that were absent. And then myself and Dave and the admin team will sit down and we'll start to take a look at the data. Our current sophomore group, this will be our 5th data point, so that will give us some good information on that. So.
Great. Any questions for Matt?
When is the PSATs for junior
I wanna say tomorrow,
Oh,
or it's this week, yeah.
this week, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, I think it's tomorrow.
I need to remind.
Yeah. Those reminders have gone
Need to
out, so.
remind someone of that, do you?
Also, on your desk, you have the Timberwolf tips, which is coming out of the school counseling department, so that's
Saw
being
that.
shared with parents and students alike, so.
Great. Is this posted on the website too?
Yes,
Great, thank you.
it's posted on the website, and I'm, to piggyback on that, also a flu clinic that's posted on the website coming up as well.
For kids and staff? Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments, Ryan?
Did you just say that the PSATs are tomorrow? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's fine. For juniors,
I had no idea.
well, they had to sign up last year.
Maybe that's why. Okay, thank you.
Before we move on to, just so you know, the girls soccer varsity won 3-2, so now they're
Nice.
at 500.
Wow, that's great. Alrighty, you're up.
So I have just a couple of things tonight. First, not on your agenda, we had a hearing with the State Board of Education yesterday afternoon, and the innovation plan that you first considered last February and then approved, I think, in April. And then we had a long regulated process of submitting it to the Department of Education, receiving comments, and then filing it for a hearing in the Board of Ed. After all that was approved in less than 10 minutes unanimously by the State Board, with glowing positive comments from them about the concept. So this is the Granite State Academy. You remember the presentation from February, many of you, that we won't launch. We won't actually start operating until you decide it's time for us to do that. So on that topic, I met yesterday with Christy and Lila to talk about the proposed contract and agreement with Stride K-12, the online school company. The remaining issues have to do with exclusivity, so that SAU 301, the Prospect Mountain Joint Board, would have the exclusive right to operate Stride K-12 online school in New Hampshire. They wouldn't be allowed to go do it with anybody else. There are some terms attached to that you're allowed to talk about in non-public before you make a decision. And then there's a cost protection piece, because as you are all aware, until we have regulatory or legal clarity, I think our next shot will come from the state Supreme Court later this year, regarding how the open enrollment law, RSA 194D, really works. It's unpredictable how well we'll do collecting revenue, right, tuition. So until the joint board receives that clarity, K-12 education is offering to carry all of the financial risk. So if you wanted to, for example, this isn't a decision for tonight, okay, I'm making a report tonight, you can talk about negotiations with this company in non-public if you want to, and then maybe it's a decision for a month from now or so. That's up to you. But they would, if you wanted to start operating the online program, say for rolling admissions in the second semester of this year, you would not have to pay K-12 for providing that service until you started receiving revenue. And furthermore, because they understand the regulatory situation that we're in, if that for some reason never happened, the joint board would be indemnified against any liability ever. So that's what we've been working on, and because you can imagine everything I just talked about is pretty involved, we spent a little over an hour, I think yesterday, maybe an hour and a half, talking about it in a little more detail.
So we had talked about physics being offered to them.
Physics we're doing.
We're doing
It
that
starts this week.
Monday,
The process, getting it going.
So they are
Didn't,
having.
didn't launch on Monday, but I think we're meeting the teacher on Friday and we'll
Yeah.
have class next
Oh,
week.
great,
Yep.
okay, I just didn't want them to have to wait, that's all.
Totally separate thing.
Okay,
We signed a
all right.
different contract for that.
Different
We
contract.
did it. We
Okay,
did it.
great,
Yeah.
thanks.
No, this is a different thing. This is an alternative program. It's a different way of going to school. A student enrolled in this program
But I
would
want,
not be
isn't
coming to
it
Crossing Mountain High
connected
School.
to them though?
They are providing the physics
That's
teacher.
what I
They are
thought.
providing,
Okay,
yes, so
yeah,
they're,
so I
so
wasn't-
actually,
I
so,
was like, am I gonna
are you
see
one of the
now?
5? So Wyatt and the other students in the physics class, I think, are going to experience the Stride K-12 platform.
Great,
They're going, so
I'll be interested.
we'll be
in
able to get
that.
some feedback from more students
How
about
many
what that's
students
like.
are enrolled in that?
There's 5, which is, I mean, pretty solid considering students are already kind of into their schedules by the time, you know, this popped up. Because there were a few more I know of that were like, I would have, but it doesn't fit with my schedule anymore. But still, 5's pretty, I think that's pretty solid.
It's great.
We also have, we know 3 students who live in our catchment area but are currently homeschoolers, who are attending a K-12 education school full-time.
Oh.
Because we introduced them as part of their decision to homeschool. They were looking for an online school. As you all know, I think there's only one online school available in New Hampshire currently. They didn't think they wanted to go to that one, so I just introduced them to the folks from K-12. And then K-12 offered to allow those kids, because the schools are virtual, it doesn't matter that it's a school from another state. So there are 3 kids, I think they're all in middle school, one might be a freshman, who are attending a K-12 school full-time right now. They're just not our students. They're technically homeschoolers, but I know that they're not paying, they're not being charged anything by the company. And I think from K-12 education's point of view, part of their reason for doing that is let us have a few more families who have experienced this platform as we're going through this decision-making process in the remaining months or few years that we're working on this.
Great,
So, that's the update on that.
great, thanks.
The language of that tentative agreement or that proposed agreement from K-12, I will email out or ask Debbie to email out as soon as we receive it, and it might be sitting in my inbox right now because we've been going back and forth over the last few days kind of trying to tighten it up. So it'll get to you, and then it'll get on to the joint board's next agenda, and you'll have the opportunity to have a discussion amongst yourselves about how you want to proceed at that time.
Okay.
Only one of you is here, but it's that time of year when we have a policy review pizza party. So I'll get in touch with the 2 members of that committee and we'll figure out when we can do that. But that should be prior to the next joint board meeting if possible. Because as the laws change in New Hampshire, they go into effect typically over the summer. So we come back to school with some new regulatory requirements, but we don't get our guidance. It's a tight time frame. So we get guidance from our law firms about what to do about some of the new laws and how to change policy language, typically during September, and then we can meet during October, and like our best case scenario is to update policies at an October meeting, and our not as great scenario is to update policies at a November meeting. So that just has to be an upcoming item. ESSER 3 isn't over yet, but we have completed all of our ESSER grants, and that's true at all 3 schools now. And we spent every penny here, pretty close. Here every penny. I think at one of the schools we came $416 short and decided we had done enough work. In the end, in all of our coronavirus relief grants across the 3 districts, we received over $3 million in federal funds. And as you know, a lot of that went into facilities projects, doors, windows, air quality, HVAC, things like that. That happened at every school. We did projects like that. The end of the performance period under that grant is the 30th of this month. That means everything that's going, like those final couple of doors, they need to be in by the 30th here. That maybe it was during the B&G meeting, but Jim LeClaire was talking about the last couple of doors being put in here. That has to be done by September 30th. And then I think Heidi's office only has November 15th to claim all of our reimbursements. So it's, even though we're done writing the grants, there's an awful lot of crunch time here right in front of us, mostly for Heidi. Thank you. And then finally, both on the table and in your email when you check it, is my update for you that Mrs. Locke asked me to prepare and I will not review what's probably a 42-page slide presentation here this evening. But her question was, could I provide, both for those of you who have been here since before 2019, but maybe more importantly for those of you who haven't, how exactly it is that we came to be doing some of these projects that we're working on, and why. So if you haven't looked at it, and again, I'm not going to go through it right now, among the different documents and presentations that we've used, I ended up finding 7 strategic objectives that I think, again, those of you who have been here for over the last 5 years are going to look at and nod. Yep, that makes sense. That was one of our goals. And then after a brief introduction and reviewing what those objectives have been, I have a little bit of a discussion. I think the longest one might be 6 or 7 slides, and the shortest might be 3 or 4, about each of those objectives and what work has been done. So on the topic of objective number 1, address enrollment decline, there are 6 or 7 or 8 slides about, so what have we done about that? Well, we had an almost year-long negotiation with the Gilmanton School Board. We had about a 6-month negotiation with the Milton School Board. We had conversations that didn't lead to negotiations with the Pittsfield School Board, with Deerfield's central office, with some local officials in another neighboring town. But those didn't yield tuition agreements that both parties agreed to. And then that leads us to how we ended up at RSA 194D, open enrollment, and all of these related topics. So hopefully this provides good context, and it will allow the joint board now, either in October or November, whenever it works out, to have a conversation that you have plenty of time to prepare for about what do you seek to achieve over the next few years. You know, are we at a turning point where some of this changes, or do you reaffirm, no, these are the things we need to be doing? Do you magnify 1 or 2 or 3 of these as the most important things now, compared to maybe what the most important things seemed like they were 3 or 4 years ago? So I'll leave that at that unless there are questions tonight.
Does anyone have any questions? I did ask Tim to bring this because I wasn't here when the first round of goals were developed. So when I was looking at our survey and what we've accomplished, what we need to accomplish, I was like, we have had all of these goals set in 2019 and we never really talk about them a lot. So I think this is important information to see how far we've come since we created those goals in 2019 and all the work that Tim did with the board to get where we are. And now it's up to this board to decide where we're going to go next. So I asked Tim to develop some goals that perhaps we could all talk about, figure out where we want to go with the school next. We should probably keep some of these, obviously, but where else do we want to go? I think culture and climate has been an issue. It was with the survey that we sent out to parents and to staff. And I think what I'm hearing is that we're building culture and climate right now, that people are feeling much more positive about what's going on. We have new teams of people that are working hard to build that culture and climate. And so I think what we need to do as a board is to look at what else we can do in that area, perhaps, because that was one of the biggest concerns in the survey, was culture and climate, and how can we improve that. So I want everyone to be thinking about that for our next meeting, so that when we come together to create new goals, what do we want to do for the school as a board? And I think the board that was in place in 2019 set some really good goals, and things have been going well with those goals.
So I'll add to that. I'm one of the ones that's still left. There's only a couple of us left that actually were here when we did the interview process for superintendents. And this is the goals that we had established at the time, because quite frankly, we were really concerned about having to let more teachers go because we didn't have enough students up here. So that was a high priority, and along with these other things. And in a short duration time of 4 years, the stuff that we asked the superintendent that we hired to do, a lot of it has been done. Cost savings, processes, policies, a lot of the things we can't even talk about that are non-public, that I know people have their opinions out there, but don't understand necessarily everything that we've had to do and what's been directed by this board to the superintendent. And there was growing pains that went along the way, but we stayed the path of the things we hired somebody for to address these things and work with us. So I'm proud of the work that we've done since 19 and moving forward, of the group of us that hired and been pushing along, and new board members coming on as well, of where we've been going. So this is a great opportunity to take a look at this and see where we want to go, Gary, for the future.
If you look at the PDF version that I emailed to you, there are clickable links throughout this. So especially if you weren't here for the presentation to the Gilmanton School Board in 2019 and you want to spend 20 minutes of your life viewing that presentation, it's linked from this. So there are, when you get to procedures and guidance for administrators and other staff, we're almost up to 50 documents. It was 30 last week. Because and this is one of the goals I had set for myself this year and our office, was to start bringing all these things together. We had a little bit of a period of frenetic plugging the next hole in the dam kind of years when we first brought the 3 systems together in one central office. As we learned what processes and procedures might not exist or might just be significantly different or not updated with current law or regulation, we just had to sort of jump into the breach and develop them quickly. Fortunately, we've all worked other places, so we had some resources we could pull in. But one of my goals for this year was to start putting those all together in one place. And it's kind of a nice opportunity having this new team here and new teams in the other schools that it's the last few years that we're now compiling and putting into one place. And then finally, one of the other goals I've set for myself, and Debbie gets this one this year as well, is that we turn some of this into a calendar, so that whoever is running a school or an SAU office can not only look at procedures and guidance on how to do some of the things that need to be done, but a calendar that reminds them, during August, these things must be done. During September, these things must be done. None of that really existed, but that's okay, we know how to do it. And if I were setting my top few goals for this year, those are 2 of them.
Okay. Can this be posted on the
Absolutely.
website? I'd like to see this on the website so parents will have a chance, because we're obviously recording, but it's nice to be able to read it and see where we've come since 2019. So if you could post that, that'd be great.
Can I piggyback on your comments? So I was chair of the superintendent search committee in whatever year that was, and I just wanted people to remember that none of this existed. This man put all these things into place for us. We had no goals. We had no, he's humble. And I am proud of what we've put in place, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and I'm super excited for where we're going. I just want to thank you, Tim.
And I think that's why it'd be important to post it, so people see how far the school has come.
Yep.
Thanks. Anyone else have anything to say? Questions, comments? Anything else you wanted to add to your report? You're all set? Okay, we're on to action items.
We did.
We already did the
Except for the system-wide
bids. We
learning.
just have to approve the system-wide literacy committee. Oh, we have the oil bid, don't worry, I have that too. So, can I have a motion for the literacy committee?
I make a motion to, I'm gonna put this here, to allow the school to establish a system-wide literacy committee.
Second. Did I hear a second?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's just do the oil bid before I forget. So, so Heidi had sent out an oil bid for us. It was really low. I told her I'd like that for my own home, but she wouldn't let me. But it's $2 and how much?
It's 2.429 per gallon with the Irving oil.
Just allow us to reaffirm our votes.
So we just need a motion to reaffirm our votes.
I make a motion to reaffirm our votes.
Second?
Oil bid.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. All right, we have policies.
All right, so Policies for second reading, and this is final reading, I believe, too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay, policy AC, Title IX, IHBCA, accommodation of pregnancy and related medical conditions, students. IHBH, extended learning opportunities. IKFB, diploma policy. IMBC, alternative credit options. IMBC-R, alternative credits, procedure.
I have a motion, do I have a second, please?
Second.
So will these, once we accept these, will these then be posted also on the website? I keep asking this redundant question, but I just want parents to be able to read these policies so they understand.
Next day.
Okay,
So
thanks.
what's typically supposed to happen is you make a policy update, and then the next day, unless for some reason Debbie's not in the office until the day
She'll
after
post
that,
them.
she'll take down the old and post the new.
Thanks, Deb. All right, everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? All right, well, I said the word Deb, I want to thank her for getting the packets out earlier this time. People had requested that, so I wanted to make sure we thank her for that, because I believe she had to come in and part of her day off too to help out with that. So I just wanted to thank her for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Action items, personnel, we have, what,
Two.
couple certified?
Just two, yeah. So, certification, retirement for Marcoux. Marceau, retirement. Make a motion to accept the retirement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I mean, I don't think we can.
With regrets, I'm sure
With
Mr.
regrets.
Marceau is a metal work teacher who's worked here for a very long time, came over from Alton Central School, I believe, when the
Right.
school was open, or joined shortly thereafter. But
It
has
had to
been-
been after.
Has been here at Prospect
Yeah.
Mountain for a very long time, and this is planned. He's at the end of his career and probably
Well.
gonna ride his motorcycle a lot.
Congratulations to him then.
Tell him I'm around on weekends.
We'll take his retirement with regrets.
And then, nominate, for certified staff nominations, Allison Bortz for social worker.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The rest doesn't need action items.
Okay, the rest were coaches. If you had any questions, we can ask him. Non-public. We going into non-public today?
We are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next, public input. Does anyone have public input? No? Oh,
Hillary Henry, I'm sure most of you know who I am, but for the record, I will say my name. I took over for the Booster Club the end of June due to the previous board moving on, graduation, other things, so it was either I took it over or it would be dissolved. So with that being said, it's been a busy few months. I started with just myself. We now have a board. We have we have volunteers to help. Our mission is to support all sports, whether it be one individual participating in a sport or 40. We've started some initiatives as far as this year we're doing snack bags that is either Gatorade or a water, and it has 1 or 2 snacks in a sandwich bag. Those go on buses for teams that are traveling over an hour. With that being said, Wyatt, I don't know the fishing schedule or if you do travel over an hour, but if not, let me know and I can send some snack bags with you. I'm pretty sure we've already sent some with golf, the girls soccer, boys soccer, volleyball. I don't think cross-country has traveled far enough. Bass fishing. We haven't, because I don't think we have your schedule, but let's get in contact and we can hook you guys up. I think there's, what, 4 or 5 of you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can send a snack bag to one of your events. We now accept PayPal, which is huge. We accept cash, check, but PayPal. And we're working on Venmo. That is forthcoming. We're also trying to come up with some theme days, probably for maybe for volleyball, but definitely for basketball, Think Pink, Hawaiian Day, some other, if anyone has any ideas, let us know, like blackout days. Anything that can get the student body there and participating is kind of what our goal is. We have started selling t-shirts and sweatshirts. They're for sale, $20 for a t-shirt, $30 for a hoodie. We're also taking orders. We're doing business with somebody who graduated from Prospect. She's local, so we're supporting local. We have partnered with sponsors, some businesses. We're also looking for individuals or other businesses who want to sponsor or help us out with funding. I have posted a bunch of information on the Booster Facebook page, but we can get that out other ways as well. Concessions, we're working on concessions. I think the first concession table is going to be this Friday at the girls' home game. I believe FBLA is going to be running that. We're trying to work with a lot of the clubs within the school. If they work a concession stand, they would get up to half of the proceeds of that for fundraising. So it can be a class, it could be a club, it can be whatever. So we're trying to get participation because a lot of us have jobs and our kids are playing sports, so it's hard for us to be at every game and do concessions. I also want to do a shout out to Amanda Hook. She's been very helpful with getting us tons of information for the Booster Club. She helped us put a donation box in the main office, and she lets us know when it's full. She lets us know when people drop checks off. She lets us know if people have questions, so that's been a huge help. We have a social media day coming. That information was sent out today. It's Thursday and Friday. It's free of charge. We are doing varsity teams and seniors, and the Booster Club and Prospect Mountain are going to use those images. The kids will also get copies of the images, but they're going to use those images for social media, posts about players, games, that sort of thing. Homecoming next week. So that is, I posted that on Facebook, but Thursday the games start at 3 with the elementary schools, and then as it goes up, 7:30 is varsity. So we're planning on running concessions Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning for the cross-country fundraiser run. We are still looking for donations, money or crock-pot items, snacks, drinks, anything of that sort. We're also thinking of obviously posting that everyone wear black, do like a blackout thing in support of the teams. Like I said, we're still collecting snacks, concessions, donations. And I did speak to Corey Halverson, the boys varsity coach, after the game today, and he is going to help promote homecoming through the Revs with, because a lot of their players are from Barnstead and Alton, play on the teams that are going to be here, and the games start at 3, so he's going to help promote that, hopefully get people here earlier so they can stay for the later games. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much for taking over the Booster Club. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You sound very organized.
Well, it's been a lot of work. It's
Well,
been.
hold on, I got a couple things to add to that. First of all, this has turned into the Henry business because our camper is now full of waters and everything else.
Yeah.
And every other day I'm told to order things on Amazon.
My living room is full of donations.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you too, because people like Rob Ellis from TL Store and a bunch of other people who were sending snacks, water. We had packages coming to the house left and right.
Yeah.
Some stuff was sent up here. So there has been a lot of people stepping up and helping out because, again, I pick up the packages and stuff.
Yeah,
Then
so.
we thank you too, Jason.
Yeah, well, thank you.
On that note, the sponsors get banners. We're paying for 3x5 banners of their logo, and not us, the boosters. And they're going to be James is going to be putting them up on the fence for the homecoming games, and they'll stay up until winter, and then for the spring, I think he's going to plan on putting them in the baseball, softball fields. So if anyone has any suggestions, wants to help, feel free to contact me. Donations, we accept it all.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
We really appreciate
Okay.
it.
Hillary, what's your PayPal?
It's Timberwolves, I think it's Timberwolves Booster Club. We did, I can post it too, we did post it on on the Facebook page, and we are gonna have a sign at concessions where you can just scan the code and then enter your debit card, or if you have PayPal, you can pay for it that way. But, yeah,
Great, thank you.
all right, thanks.
I want to add more thing public, just so you know, DP Productions, who actually films a lot of these games around here, because
I've
Devin,
seen them, yeah.
Devin's awesome. So I'll tout it out there. They started miking up kids on the field, and our child was the first one mic'd up, which was last week. Got to hear a little clip of it, but they have to go and edit it. There might have been some language used in the first 7 minutes that are not appropriate to be out there. So I can't wait till that comes out, and then she's got one other one she mic'd up here for, but she was the first person here being mic'd up, so it was
That's
kinda,
great.
that was really cool.
I bet.
So, big thank you to DP Productions. Go out there and watch the videos. He films so many schools. He employs some of these kids, mine, Paige Harding, and a bunch of other kids from here that will film games as well. So
I've
he's
seen them filming, yeah.
yeah, he's awesome to the kids and treats them well, pays them well, and then what a great experience that he provides for them.
Any other comments?
I'll
Questions?
just add that there's been a lot of positivity as far as like the sense of community around this year's homecoming.
That's great.
So really just tremendous job to those involved getting it organized. They're even bringing in dancers from Alton Dance Academy to
Oh, wow.
perform during halftime. So it's not just athletics, they're reaching out, and it really feels like a community-wide event, you know, offering people to
Which
sign up
is
for
one
a
of our
5K.
goals, is to build that
And
community.
so as we talk about culture and, you know, what's important, I just think, thank you to those involved in getting this year's homecoming organized. I think
That's great.
it's not
Yeah,
just
I
athletics,
didn't know
but
the
they're doing
Dance
a great
Academy
job.
was coming over too, that's great.
Dinner night show.
The dinner show, so we're gonna have lights for the kids, huh? Remember we did that last year, it was fun. All right, any other comments, questions? Great. I guess we are going to look at our future agenda. Anything you wanna add to our agenda next time? We're gonna look at our goal setting.
Probably start talking about the budget.
Yeah,
Policies, hopefully.
true, policies, that's right. Anything else?
Sure, more.
The innovation plan, we have to bring that for.
Yeah, the STRIDE proposed contract, you'll need to make some decisions.
Right.
At some point in the
Okay.
next couple of months on that. If you do decide to go forward and they're going to start rolling admissions into the online program for the second semester, they'll want enough time to start some marketing.
Sure.
So I
Right.
think either October or November.
I'll be curious to see how the physics class goes. You're gonna have a person in charge of that group, correct? Is that how it's gonna work? Okay. I'll be
Keep an eye on
interested.
them.
I'm very interested in that, yes. All right, any other business before we go into non-public? Our future meeting date is October 22nd. So if anyone's interested in that on our public, October 22nd.
Make a motion to go in non-public session under RSA 91A, semicolon 3, 2, A and C personnel. Yeah, we did enough.
Okay, we need a roll call for that.
Second?
Yes.
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 Okay. Thanks, Wyatt, for coming out tonight.
Yes.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Guess I need some chips on this top. Here's some personnel things. Peggy, you want anything?
You have 2 early graduation requests. We talk about those in non-public because we name the kids and we talk about their academic experience.